I died, choking on my own blood, the metallic tang flooding my mouth as the icy Hudson River swallowed me whole. My father's yacht party laughter echoing like a cruel joke from the deck above. Betrayed by the man I loved and the family that raised me, I clawed at the water until blackness claimed me, Serenity Hayes, heiress to a media empire. Reduced to a footnote in the society pages, tragic accident claims socialite. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my 25-year-old body 3 years earlier, heart pounding in the mirror of my Upper East Side penthouse. The date on my phone screaming June 15th, 2022, the night before my engagement party to that snake. Ethan Caldwell. The shock hit like a freight train. I gripped the marble sink, staring at my reflection, wide blue eyes, chestnut waves tumbling over bare shoulders, the silk robe from my bridal registry collection clinging like a ghost. This was me. Pre-tragedy Serenity, naive, ambitious, blind to the vipers coiled in my own bloodline. My father, Victor Hayes, the silver-tongued king of Hayes Media Group, had orchestrated it all. He'd hated how I pushed for ethical reforms in the company, threatening his dirty deals with offshore accounts and silenced whistleblowers. Ethan, my fiancé, the golden boy from Old Money, was his puppet, fed lies about my instability to justify pushing me overboard during that celebration cruise. The autopsy called it suicide. The tabloids ate it up. But I knew the truth now. Etched into my soul like a scar, they murdered me for control, bearing the secret of my mother's real will that left me the majority stake. I laughed then, a raw, jagged sound that echoed off the tiles. Revenge wasn't a fantasy anymore, it was oxygen. I'd play their game, but this time, I'd rewrite the rules. Starting tonight, at the party where Victor would toast my future with Ethan, his eyes gleaming with the knowledge that he'd already sold my soul to seal a merger. No more wide-eyed girl chasing love and legacy. This serenity was forged in the river's depths, cunning, unyielding, ready to burn it all down. The elevator dinged, spilling me into the fray of the engagement gala at the plaza. Crystal flutes clinked like distant gunfire, and the air hummed with the scent of orchids and old money. My mother, God, she was alive here, her laugh light and oblivious as she swirled in an emerald gown, arm linked with Victor's. She didn't know yet that he'd gaslit her into believing I was the problem child, the one who needed watching. In my first life, she died of a broken heart 6 months after me, whispering apologies from her hospital bed that never reached my ears. Ethan spotted me first, his all-American grin flashing like a shark's teeth. 6'2", broad shoulders from Yale crew, blonde hair artfully tousled, he was the perfect facade. "There's my girl," he murmured, pulling me into a kiss that tasted like bourbon and deceit. I let him, my lips curving into a smile that didn't reach my eyes. In this timeline, I'd feed his ego just enough to keep him close, unraveling his threads one whispered doubt at a time. Victor approached, his presence parting the crowd like Moses at the Red Sea. At 58, he was still the picture of patriarchal power, salt and pepper hair, custom Tom Ford suit hugging his gym-toned frame, a Rolex that screamed quiet dominance. "Serenity, darling," he boomed, clapping Ethan's back before air-kissing my cheeks. "You look radiant. Almost makes up for that go-doffel dress you insisted on for the rehearsal." His eyes flicked to my off-the-shoulder crimson number, bold, unapologetic. A far cry from the demure pastels he'd pushed in my first go-round. The guests chuckled, a ripple of polite cruelty. It stung, but I savored it, This was the first cut in a war of 1,000. I tilted my head, feigning hurt.
Daddy, you wound me.
But hey, if I'm walking down the aisle to Ethan, might as well practice turning heads now. Laughter swelled, genuine this time, and Victor's jaw tightened, just a fraction. But I saw it. The hook was set. As the night wore on, I worked the room like a pro. Charmed the venture capitalists eyeing Hayes Media's expansion. Dropped hints about streamlining operations that made their ears perk, seeds of doubt about Victor's antiquated grip. Whispered to my cousin Lila, the family wild card with her trust fund rebellion, about irregularities in the accounts I'd stumbled upon during my internship. Lies. All of it, but rooted in truths I'd uncovered post-mortem from hacked emails in the afterlife haze. Lila's eyes widened. She was my first ally. Unwitting yet. Ethan pulled me onto the dance floor under the chandelier's glow, his hand possessive on my waist. You're on fire tonight.
Babe.
What's got you so electric? I leaned in, breath hot against his ear. Just excited for our future. You?
Me?
The world at our feet. He shivered, mistaking strategy for seduction. But as we swayed to some sultry jazz standard, my gaze locked on Victor across the room, schmoozing a senator with that trademark charm. He thought he owned this empire. By dawn, I'd start chipping away. Back at the penthouse, Ethan crashed on the couch, buzzed and boneless. I slipped into the study, Victor's domain when he stayed over, my bare feet silent on the Persian rug. The safe loomed behind a false panel in the bookshelf. Combination his wedding date to Mom, April 21st, 99. Child's play. Inside, ledgers. Encrypted drives. Photos that would make a tabloid editor weep. One snapshot caught my eye. Age 10. Grinning gap-toothed beside Mom on a beach in the Hamptons. Tucked behind it, a yellowed envelope. Her handwriting scrawled across the front. For serenity. Open on my passing. My hands trembled as I slid it open. Pages of her will. Notarized in secret. Dated a month before her heart attack 5 years ago. Victor had contested it publicly, claiming forgery, but here it was, 51% of Hayes Media to me.
Outright.
With clauses protecting it from marital assets. He'd buried it. Convinced the courts with bribes and bullshit expert testimony. And the kicker? A codicil naming Ethan as a person of interest in her suspicions. Victor had introduced him to me right after. A plant to monitor and manipulate. Rage boiled. Hot and clarifying. Mom hadn't died naturally. Victor's stress. His affairs. His empire building had crushed her. But the will, that was the noose around his neck now. I snapped photos with my phone, heart racing. This was leverage. Pure dynamite. But revenge wasn't a sprint. It was a marathon of calculated strikes. The next morning, sunlight sliced through the blinds as I brewed coffee. Ethan still snoring. My phone buzzed, Lila. Sis. Those irregularities. I dug a bit. Dad's been funneling cash to some Cayman shell company. Wanton, hook, line, sinker. Absolutely.
Meet me at Le Pain Quotidien. Noon.
Bring your laptop. Over croissants and flat whites. We plotted in hushed tones. Lila, with her piercings and pink-streaked hair, was the black sheep Victor tolerated for optics. He's always treated you like the golden child, she said. Fingers flying over keys. Me? The fuck up. But this could topple him. I nodded.
Sipping my latte.
Not topple, eviscerate. But we need more. Proof of the will. Ties to Ethan's family. Her eyes lit with that reckless fire I remembered from childhood escapades. By 2 p.m., we'd hacked into Victor's assistant's email, amateur hour. But effective. Threads of payments to a PI tailing me. Notes on managing Serenity's volatility. That night, dinner with the families at Victor's club in Midtown. The oak-paneled room reeked of cigar smoke and entitlement. Power brokers nursing scotches. Ethan sat beside me, his knee brushing mine under the table, a habit I'd once found endearing, now repulsive. Victor dominated, regaling with tales of the latest acquisition, a scrappy podcast network he'd gut for parts. Serenity's got a nose for content, he said, winking at me. Maybe she'll take the reins someday, if she plays her cards right. The table tittered. Ethan's dad, a Wall Street shark, chuckled. Girls like her are better at the parties than the boardroom.
Beak.
I smiled, knife sharp. Actually, Mr. Caldwell, I've been reviewing the podcast synergies. Their host has a whistleblower angle on tech monopolies. Could be gold for our antitrust PR. Silence dropped like a guillotine. Victor's fork paused midair. Ethan's hand squeezed my thigh, warning or arousal. I ignored it. After dessert, I cornered Mom in the ladies' lounge, mirrors multiplying our reflections into infinity. Mom, remember that beach trip? You left me something,
Didn't you?
Her face crumpled, then hardened. Serenity. What? The envelope. I found it. Tears welled in her eyes. Mascara threatening to streak. He told me you'd never believe it. That you'd think I was unstable. I pulled her into a hug, whispering, he's the unstable one. Help me end this. By week's end, the engagement buzz hit fever pitch. Invites out for the wedding in the fall, St. Patrick's Cathedral. Reception at the Pierre. But I was already derailing the tracks. Anonymous tips to a hungry reporter at the New York Post. Hayes Media airs suspects embezzlement. Nothing printed yet, but ripples spread. Victor called me into his office. The city skyline mocking us through floor-to-ceiling glass. What's this I hear about you reviewing files? His voice was velvet over steel. I perched on the desk's edge, crossing my legs. Just due diligence.
Dad.
Ethan's folks want transparency for the merger. Can't have skeletons rattling on our honeymoon. His eyes narrowed. You're playing with fire.
Girl.
Stick to the flowers and vows. I leaned in, voice honeyed. Or what? You'll push me overboard like you did Mom's dreams. The bluff landed, his face blanched. He recovered with a laugh. Don't be dramatic. Go try on dresses or something. But the seed festered. That night, Ethan confronted me in bed, his body pinning mine, not passion, but possession. What the hell was that at dinner? You're making waves. I traced his jaw. Buying time. Just protecting our future, baby. Unless you know something I don't. His hesitation was a tell, eyes darting to the nightstand. Later, while he showered, I swiped his phone, text to Victor. She's sniffing around. Need to accelerate. Accelerate what? The merger that would dilute my shares? Or something darker? I forwarded it to Lila, then deleted the trace. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of the river pulling me under. Weeks blurred into a whirlwind of fittings and fittings, ironic, as I fitted myself for war. The wedding dress, ivory silk, fitted bodice with a train that whispered like secrets. But under it, I wore a wire, courtesy of a shady contact Lila found on the dark web. Controversial? Hell yes. Illegal?
Borderline.
But Victor's empire was built on worse. The Bachelorette loomed, a Vegas blowout with girlfriends. But I bowed out.
Claiming a migraine.
Truth, a rendezvous with the PI Victor had hired on me. Bought him off with a chunk of my personal trust. Flipped him to my side. Your old man's sloppy, he grunted over beers in a dive bar. Got photos of him with that, in turn. Payoffs to silence the podcast guy. Jackpot. Armed with dirt, I escalated. Leaked the intern affair to a gossip blog, framed as anonymous source close to the family. Victor's board meeting the next day was a shit show. Stock dipped 3%. He blamed jealous rivals, but his eyes found mine across the dinner table that night. Accusatory. You're my daughter, he hissed in the hallway after. Act like it. I met his gaze. Unflinching. Daughters deserve truth. Like why moms will vanish, he backhanded me, quick. Controlled. The family crest ring splitting my lip. Blood welled. Coppery and familiar. You don't know what you're stirring. I dabbed it with a napkin, smiling through the sting.
Oh.
I know exactly. Ethan patched me up in the limo home. His touch gentle. Confusing. Your dad's stressed. The merger. Screw the merger. I pulled away. Whose side are you on? He faltered. Yours. Always. Liar. But doubt cracked his armor. I'd hammer it later. The rehearsal dinner approached. Tensions coiling like a spring. Lila and I met the reporter, Elena Vasquez. A Latina firebrand from the Post with a grudge against Victor from a buried sexual harassment suit. Over tie in Hell's Kitchen. We handed her the drive. Ledgers. Photos. Well, scans. Run it wedding week, I said. Let the vows choke on the truth. She grinned. This'll be biblical. But twists lurked. That night, a break-in at my penthouse, subtle, professional. Drawers rifled. My laptop gone. Victor's doing, no doubt. I had backups, but the message was clear, back off. Instead, I doubled down, reaching out to Ethan's estranged sister, Brooke, via LinkedIn. I know about the family debts. Help me. And we exposed Dad's role. Brooke, a recovering addict in Seattle.
Bit.
Ethan's in deep. Victor bailed us out, but with strings made him spy on you. Confirmation. My fiancé. My love, a mole from day one. The eve of the wedding dawned humid, the city pulsing with summer heat. I stood in the bridal suite at the Pierre, veil misting my vision like fog off the Hudson. Mom fussed with my train, eyes red from our late-night confessions. I'm proud of you.
Sit.
For seeing through the bullshit. Lila slipped in, phone in hand. Elena's story drops at midnight. You sure? No turning back. Hit it. The ceremony blurred, vows exchanged under stained glass. Ethan's hand clammy in mine. Victor's toast at the reception was a masterpiece of paternal pride to serenity. My wild child, finally tamed by love. Laughter.
Claps.
Then his aside. Mike's still hot. About time she stopped playing CEO and stuck to being pretty. The room tittered again. But this time, it landed wrong, whispers turning sharp. I rose, glass in hand, heart thundering. Thank you,
Dad.
for the toast. And for everything else. Ethan shot me a look. Panic? The band struck up. But I waved them silent. Actually, one more thing before the cake. I nodded to the AV tech. Our inside man. The screen flickered. Victor's face. Mid-rant in a leaked board call. Serenity's a liability. Post-merger. We'll institutionalize her if we have to, make it look like a breakdown. Gasps rippled. Victor choked on a champagne. Flute shattering on the linen. What the? But I wasn't done. The will scrolled next.
Mauvaise signature bold.
And this? My inheritance. Stolen. Mom's last gift. Buried by you. Ethan bolted up. Face ashen. Sare. Stop, this is. You. I turned on him. Voice steel. The spy. The lover who reported my every move. But here's the twist. Everyone. Ethan's not just Victor's pawn. He's the son Mom suspected. Victor's bastard. Hidden to claim the empire through me. The room erupted screams. Flashes from phones. Brooke's affidavit projected. Ethan Caldwell? Try Ethan Hayes. Paternity test and close. Victor lunged, but security, hired by Lila, held him. Ethan stammered. It was for us. The money. For you, I corrected. I drowned because of it. Cops swarmed minutes later. Tipped by Elena's piece exploding online. Victor. Sputtering denials. Ethan. Cuffed beside him. Eyes pleading. Mom clutched my arm, whispering, You did it, baby. But as the chaos swirled, a final hook twisted, in the river's memory, I'd seen Ethan's face, not malice, but horror. A setup gone wrong?
No.
The real villain?
Me.
In another life. Too trusting. This time, justice tasted like vindication. Sharp and sweet. Yet, as dawn broke over the skyline, alone in the suite with my torn veil, I wondered, was revenge rebirth? Or just another death? The fallout hit like a Category 5 hurricane, shredding the Hayes empire faster than a bad quarterly report. By morning, Hayes media stock cratered 22%. Analysts on CNBC calling it the wedding from hell. Victor and Ethan in cuffs at the 19th precinct. Lawyers scrambling like rats off a sinking ship.
Me?
Serenity Hayes. The scorned bride turned whistleblower. Fielding calls from every network from Fox to MSNBC. Hero or homewrecker? One producer pitched. I hung up. Poured a scotch neat like my nerves weren't frayed to threads. Lila crashed on my couch. Laptop glowing with live feeds. Twitter's a battlefield. Serenity Rising versus Hayes hoax. Your dad's trending higher than Taylor Swift's breakup. I sank beside her. Ice clinking. Let it burn. But inside, the river's chill lingered. Rebirth had gifted clarity, but not peace. Mom was safe, holed up in the Hamptons with a security detail, drafting her own tell-all. Write the truth. Sare, she'd texted. It's the only weapon that doesn't rust. First order. Dismantle the merger. I convened an emergency board call from my penthouse. Voice steady over Zoom. Gentlemen and ladies. Finally, Victor's out. The will stands. I'm assuming interim CEO. Effective immediately. Murmurs. Then assent. Power. Raw and real. Hummed through the line. Controversial? The old guard whispered nepotism, but with the scandals fresh. Who argued? Ethan's call came at noon. From Holding.
Ser.
Listen, it wasn't like that. Your dad forced me. The paternity. I didn't know until last year. I twirled the engagement ring, a 3-carat canary diamond. Now, a paperweight. Save it for the judge. Brother dear.
Click.
But doubt nagged. In my death throes. His scream, no.
Beak.
Stop, had echoed. Complicity. Or coercion. I'd uncover it. Layer by layer.
The PI. Marco.
Met me at a nondescript diner in Queens, greasy spoons and anonymity. Your old man's singing to the feds already, he said, sliding a folder over eggs. Ratting on partners to lighten his sentence. Names, senators, CEOs, even a mobbed-up union boss. I flipped pages. Bile rising. Hayes Media wasn't just news, it was a syndicate, laundering influence through fake philanthropy. Mom's heart attack. Stress-induced. Sure. But Victor's coke-fueled rages hadn't helped. A photo, him snorting lines off a hooker's back, time-stamped the night she collapsed. Get me everything on Ethan, I said. And tails on Victor's mistresses. They'll flip for immunity. Marco nodded. Grease-slick grin. You're a natural.
Kid.
Ruthless. Ruthless. The word echoed as I drove back in the Bentley, mine now, repossessed from Victor's garage. Traffic snarled on the FDR. Horns blaring like accusations. Was I becoming him? Decisions loomed. Fire the loyalists who'd enabled him. Or reform. Leak more dirt to cripple competitors. Or play ethical. Controversy brewed. A shareholder's suit already filed, claiming I orchestrated the leak for control. Lila and I holed up that night. War room style. Whiteboard scrawled with timelines. My death date. Mom's. Key payoffs. Next move. Press conference, she said. Popping Adderall like candy. Own the narrative. I paced. Heels clicking.
No.
Let Elena run point. I'm the victim. Keep it that way. But victimhood chafed. By dawn. A new email. From Brooke. Ethan's innocent in the push. Victor threatened to cut us off. Expose my relapse. Here's proof recordings. I played it. Ethan's voice. Pleading. I love her.
Vic.
This ends now. A slap. Victor's growl. Love? You're my blood. Do it, or you're homeless. Tears pricked, damn it. Twist, my fiancé. A reluctant villain. Forgiveness? Or leverage? I forwarded to Marco. Verify. The week devolved into siege. Paparazzi camped outside the building. Drones buzzing like vultures. I slipped out the service entrance. Uber to a tattoo parlor in Brooklyn. Impulse. Rebellion. The artist. A burly ex-con named Jax. Inked a phoenix on my wrist. Flames curling without burning. Rising from ashes. Yeah, he grunted. Yeah. Pain grounded me. A reminder, this body. This life, mine to wield. Back home. Mom arrived unannounced. Suitcases in tow. I'm not hiding anymore. We cooked pasta, her recipe. Garlic and basil thick as memories. Over wine. She spilled. Victor's affairs started pre-marriage.
But the will?
Her revenge for discovering his embezzlement. I wanted you safe.
Safe.
He found out. Contested it quiet-like. I squeezed her hand. We're safe now. But safety was illusion. That night. A brick through the window. Traitor scrawled in red. Victor's allies. Striking back. I called in private security. XSALS with eyes like hawks. Board meeting day, the conference room atop Hayes Tower. Panoramic views, mocking the chaos below. Suits eyed me warily as I took the head seat, Victor's throne. Reforms start today, I announced. Audit all offshore accounts. Diversity hires mandatory. And we're killing the smear campaign against that podcast host. Pushback erupted. You're gutting profits, one fossil barked. Or we're gutting the company with lawsuits, I countered. Choose. They folded. Grudgingly. Power's aphrodisiac. Heady and addictive. Ethan's arraignment followed. Virtual from my office. He looked wrecked, orange jumpsuit clashing with his wasp polish. Bail denied, the judge intoned. His eyes met the camera. Regret?
Raw.
I signed the affidavit, testimony against Victor, but pleading for leniency on Ethan. Controversial mercy? The press would feast. Lila crashed the after-party. Well, my solo scotch on the terrace. You're soft on him, maybe. Or smart. Allies are gold. She lit a joint.
Passing it.
I declined boundaries. What's next? Boss lady. Twist the knife. I'd greenlit Elena's follow-up. Victor's mob ties. Photos included. Drop date, Ethan's trial. But as sirens wailed below, a call for Marco. Trouble. One of Victor's goons is gunning for you. Warehouse in Red Hook thinks you have the original will. Adrenaline surged. Address? Serenity.
No.
I was already grabbing keys. Controversial? Charging into danger solo. American as apple pie and vigilantes. The warehouse loomed. Rust bucket on the waterfront. Hudson's stink heavy. I parked. Heels swapped for flats from the trunk. Inside, shadows. Crates. A figure pacing low-life muscle. Tattooed neck. Where's the paper?
Bitch.
I stepped into light. Phone recording. Burning in hell with your boss. He lunged. Meaty fists swinging. I dodged. Self-defense classes post-rebirth.
A must.
Knee to groin. Elbow to throat. He crumpled.
Gasping.
Sirens, my backup.
Vzdorošu 911.
Cuffed. He spat. Victor's got more. Won't stop. I leaned close. Tell him I said hi. Back in the Bentley. Shaking. Phoenix ink throbbing. Rebirth wasn't clean, it was gritty. Knuckles bruised. Trial loomed. Media circus primed. Victor's defense. Delusional daughter.
Mine, trut serum.
But in quiet moments, the river whispered, was vengeance hollow? Or holy? Mom found me at dawn, stitching a cut on my palm. You're not him.
Ser.
You're better. I hoped so. The Empire waited. Thorns and all. The trial opened like a bad Broadway revival. Victor Hayes. Fall guy for America's elite sins. Center stage in federal court downtown. Marble halls echoed with clicks of heels and camera shutters. Protesters outside chanting justice for serenity versus Free Vic, signs from his loyalists. I slipped in back row. Incognito in oversized shades and a trench, the ghost haunting her own haunting. Ethan testified first, voice cracking like a teenager's.
I
went along to protect my sister.
But the yacht?
I begged him to stop. He said it'd look like suicide. Save the family name. Jurors leaned in, pencils scratching. Victor's lawyer, a slick Harvard shark named Hargrove, pounced. So you admit complicity? Mr. Hayes. Ethan's eyes flicked to me, pleading.
Yes.
But I loved her.
Love.
The word landed like a gut punch. In my first life, I believed it, tattooed it on my heart.
Now?
It was currency, spent and counterfeit. My turn came afternoon. The stand a wooden pillory under fluorescent glare. Hargrove circled like a hyena. MS.
Hayes.
Isn't it true you fabricated the will to seize control? A scorned woman's revenge fantasy. I crossed my legs, calm as the Hudson at slack tide.
No.
But I did resurrect it from your client's safe, where he hid it after forging the contest.
Gasps.
The bailiff swore in the notary, her trembling hands validating Mom's signature. Hargrove blanched. Victor, at the defense table, slammed a fist, gavel banged. Cross turned brutal. Old psych evals twisted to paint me unstable. Daddy issues from Victor's affairs. You always craved attention, Hargrove sneered. Leaking scandals. That's not justice. That's spectacle. I met his eyes.
Spectacle expose trousse.
Like how your firm buried Mom's harassment claim against him. Sidebar. Judges gavel like thunder. Jury murmured. I'd planted the seed. Recess. Lila in the hall, vaping furiously. You slayed. But Ethan's staring holes through you. I glanced back. He was from holding. Let him. Post-trial buzz. Elena's piece hit. Mob ties exploding. Indictments rained. Senators scrambling. Unions fracturing. Hayes Media? I pivoted hard. Ethical reboots. Hiring whistleblower journalists. Stock rebounding 15%. Controversial hires. Ex-cons like Jack's the tattoo guy for diversity initiatives. Board grumbled. But profits silenced them. Nights blurred. Strategy sessions with Marco, who became shadow advisor. Victor's breaking, he reported over stakeout coffee. Offering plea, 10 years. Immunity for higher-ups. No deal, I said. Full exposure. But crack showed in me. Dreams, the river. Ethan's hands pulling me up.
Not down.
Wake sweat-soaked. Mom's lullabies on loop. She moved back to the penthouse. Our bond steel-forged. Proud doesn't cover it, she'd say. Braiding my hair like kid days. You're the legacy I dreamed. Ethan's visit started, supervised. Riker's sterile room. First, silence. Him tracing table scars. I should have told you. About being. His. Why didn't you? Voice steady. Heart not.
Fear.
He owns people.
Sit. But you?
You broke the chains. Mercy stirred. I nodded to his lawyer. Reduced charges. Cooperation credit. Press held Stockholm, but rating soared. Twist dropped mid-trial. Brooks' live interview on CNN. Ethan saved her life that night. Jumped in after. But currents took him under too. Victor pulled him out. Threatened silence. Footage. Blurred ER cams. Ethan's hypothermia logs. Jury wept. Victor raged, perjuring himself on stand. Lies. My son's a hero. She's the villain. Closing. My rebuttal. Unscripted. I died once. Metaphorically. In that river of deceit. This isn't revenge, it's resurrection. For Mom. For truth. Standing ovation from gallery. Judge's eyes softened. Verdict. Victor. 25 to life. Conspiracy. Fraud. Manslaughter. Ethan. 5 years probation. Community service. Hugs in the corridor, Mom. Lila. Even Brooke. Ethan lingered. Thank you. Don't, I whispered. Earn it. Empire rebuild. I greenlit the podcast acquisition. Full.
No gating.
Host. A fiery queer activist named Riley. Became my right hand. You get it, she said over launch party toasts. Power's poison unless shared. Controversy peaked, shareholder revolt over woke pivots. Protests at HQ. Egged windows. I addressed them from steps. Megaphone in hand. Change hurts. But stagnation kills. Join or get out. Half walked, the rest innovated. Stock hit all-time high. Personal storm. Date with Jax. Ink fresh between us. Dinner at a Williamsburg hole-in-the-wall. Tattoos clashing like art. Your trouble, he grinned. Fork twirling spaghetti. Good trouble. Kiss under street lamps, electric. Uncomplicated.
No empires.
Just heat. But Victor's appeal loomed. Shadows lengthening. A letter smuggled via guard. You think you won? Blood's thicker. Watch your back. Chills. Marco tailed a suspicious tale, lowlife from the warehouse. Circling Mom's yoga class. I upped security, but sleep fled. Climax brewed at the annual Hayes Gala, my first as CEO. Black tie redemption. Crystal ballroom at the Waldorf. A-listers orbiting. Riley emceed. Toasting serenity, from ashes to icons. Laughter. But eyes scan doors. Then crash. Smoke bombs. Chaos. Masked figures, Victor's crew, trashing exhibits. Spray painting thief. I grabbed mic. Evacuate calm. Security. Jax. In crowd. Tackled one, Lila live-streamed. Cops swarmed. Arrests made. But in melee, a note in my clutch. River awaits.
Daughter.
Victor. From Sing Sing. Pulling strings. Fury ignited. I visited next day. Plexiglass between. End this, I said. He leaned close. Eyes manic.
Never.
You're me, ruthless.
No.
I'm free. As gates clanged. Epiphany. Revenge's end was release.
But was it?
Post-gala wreckage. Headline screamed, Hayes heiress under siege, but I spun it. PR blitz on corporate resilience. Donations to anti-corruption NGOs. Victor's string snapped. Feds raided his prison contacts. Adding RICO charges. 25 years stretched to eternity. Ethan started service at a Brooklyn shelter. Reports glowing. Model citizen. We'd lunch sometimes. Awkward salads. Rebuilding bridges. Miss you, he'd say. Idenot. Walls thinning. Empire thrived. But cost clawed. Sleepless nights. Therapy with a no-bullshit shrink named Dr.
Patel.
Rebirth trauma, she called it, my river death, a PTSD ghost. Sessions unearthed rage. Not just Victor's.
But my own naivete.
You blame yourself, she probed. For trusting. Guilty, I admitted. Progress. Journaling. Yoga with Mom. Her book deal landed, memoir. Buried Empires, ghost-written but soul-deep. We toured signings. Hand in hand. Paparazzi flashing like fireflies. Controversial pivot. I outed myself as bi in a company-wide email, allyship. Not announcement. Backlash from conservatives. Boycotts. Donor pullouts. But Gen Z flocked. Subscriptions surged. Risky. Riley warned over war room pizza. Necessary. Authenticity was my armor now. Jax deepened, weekends in his loft, sketching designs while he welded sculptures. You're building something real, he said, callous hands on my waist. Sex was fire, no games. Just bodies sinking like forgotten rhythm. But trust? Slow burn. What's your angle? I asked once. Post-glow.
He laughed.
Angles are for suits. I'm here for the curve. Lila's arc twisted. Her startup. A whistleblower app. Funded by Hayes seed money. But addiction crept. Pills for deadlines. Intervention at my place, Mom. Riley. Your family, I said, holding her through sobs. Rehab followed. Her exit. Don't let me down. Boss. Never. Twist surfaced in audit. Buried file. Mom's true cause, poisoning. Trace arsenic in tox screen Victor suppressed. Manslaughter? Upgrade to murder.
Daddy opened. Victor's appeals tanked.
Courtroom redux, me testifying. Voice iron. He killed her slow. Then me quick. Jury guilty. Life.
No parole.
His scream is sentenced. Monster. You're the monster. Echoed in my skull weeks later. Alone on the yacht, repossessed. Rechristened Phoenix. Hudson lapped hull. Memories flooding. Jump?
No. Dive.
Deliberate. Water shocked. Cold embrace. Surfaced gasping.
Alive.
Rebirth squared. Ethan's probation ended early. Good behavior. Dinner invite. His walk up in the village. Candles flickering. I wrote letters, he said. Stack bound in twine. Every day in there. I read one, apologies. Love unfeigned. Twist. I was going to confess. Pre-wedding. Tip you off.
Tears fell.
Why stop? You shone too bright. Feared eclipsing you.
Kiss. Tentative.
Then torrent. Old flames. New light. But boundaries held friends first. Maybe more. Empire zenith. Hayes acquired a rival. Ethical merger. Gala redux. This time triumphant. Toast to Mom's book. Riley's Emmy nod. Jack's proposed collab. Tattoo line for staff. Lila. Sober 6 months. MC'd. But shadow lingered. Anonymous threats. Blood debt. Marco traced to Victor's lawyer, Hargrove. Disbarred but vengeful. Stakeout ended in arrest. But warning. More where that came from. Climax brewed at company retreat. Catskills Lodge. Team building amid fall foliage. Fireside Esmores. Trust falls. Night 2. Blackout. Generator sabotage. Panic and dark. Screams. Footsteps. I grabbed flashlight. Herding staff. Jack's barricaded doors. Ethan. Visiting. Scouted perimeter. Intruder. Hargrove's nephew. Gun-toting grudge. For Uncle Vic. Shots cracked. Wild. Shattering glass. I tackled him mid-aim at Riley. Scuffle. Gun skittered. Ethan pounced.
Pinning.
Enough. Cops airlifted in. Nephew cuffed. Rambling conspiracies. Aftermath. Huddles by fire. Tears and toasts. We're unbreakable, I declared. But break I did. Later, Dr. Patel's couch. Unraveling. It's over. Yet not. Closure's myth, she said. Live the win. Homecoming. Penthouse party. Small mom. Lila. Jax. Ethan. Riley. Laughter drowned ghosts. Jax pulled me aside. Marry me?
No rings.
Just us. I laughed. Slow. Cowboy. Ethan toasted. To serenity, our phoenix. Glass raised. But eyes met Jax's. Twist, love. Plural.
Polly?
Controversial in circles. But mine. Victor's final letter. Forgive?
No.
But no, I made you strong. Burned it. Ashes to wind. Life post-revenge. Boardrooms balanced with beaches. Hayes, ethical empire. Me its beating heart. Mom's foundation for abused heirs. Lila's app. Revolutionizing tips. River visits. Sit shoreside. Feet dangling. I won. I whispered to waves. Echo. Yes. Years folded like origami. Sharp creases of triumph. Soft folds of healing. Hayes Media? A juggernaut now. Emmy sweeps for investigative pods. Stock a Wall Street darling. I stepped back CEO. Riley took helm. Her vision fierce.
Me?
Executive chair. Globe-trotting for stories untold. Controversial legacy. The Serenity Clause, mandating transparency audits industry-wide. Hated by tyrants. Hailed by reformers. Mom remarried, a quiet prof from Columbia. Shared lectures on media ethics. Their wedding, backyard. Wildflowers. Me walking her down. Full circle, she beamed. Lila's app exploded, acquired by Google. Her cut seeding a recovery fund. Sober anniversary parties, cake. Bad karaoke. Us belting survivor. You saved me first, she'd say. Bullshit. I just held the mirror. Jax and I, ink and fire. Committed chaos. No Vegas elopement. Vow renewal on that yacht. Hudson witness. Tattoos intertwined, his anchor to my phoenix. Kids? Someday. Adopted strays like us. Ethan wove in best friend. Occasional more. Polly weave without tangles. Family redefined. He'd quip over brunches. But ghosts don't fade quiet. Victor died in prison heart attack. Ironic echo of Mom's fake one.
No tears. Ascis cater denanemes.
Per his will. Ethan grieved private. Flawed father. I nodded.
No absolution.
Twist finale, a letter. Postmarked Sing Sing. Unsealed. Mom's handwriting, his forgery?
Dire ser.
If you're reading, I'm gone. Truth. The river was a murder. I pushed you to wake you. Metaphor for control. But you drowned my illusion. Proud. In chains.
Love.
Dad. Forgery. Feds confirmed. Hargrove's last gasp from county jail. But seed planted. Was evil absolute?
Dr.
Patel. Nuance frees you. I burned it too. Freer. Empire's zenith faded to rhythm. Mornings yoga with Mom. Afternoons scripting docs on silence voices. Evenings. Jax's loft. Vinyl spinning Springsteen. Bodies tangled. American dream, he'd murmur. Reclaimed, I'd reply. One dawn. River walk, Ethan joining. Coffee steaming. Miss the drama? Own the piece. Laughter. Easy. Flashback hook. That mirror. June 15th. 2022. Girl reborn. Vengeful spark.
Now?
Woman whole. Scars badges. Controversy lingered. Suits claiming I stole the throne. Exes spilling tea. I leaned in. TED Talk. Dying to lead. Viral firestorm. Debates raged. Hero or opportunist. Both. I shrugged.
Ending, nota id bao.
Life's messy American quilt, betrayals stitched to triumphs. I stand terrace. City lights winking complicit. To second chances, I toast solo. Wind carries it to stars. And the river? It flows on. Silent witness. Serenity haze. Drowned. Risen. Raining.